Live from downtown St. Joseph, you're watching News Press Now Morning Edition.
Well, we are dealing with snowfall back in the area today and followed by cold temperatures. I'll have more details coming up next.
And also coming up, we're taking you to the scenes from that Russian invasion of Ukraine, which is obviously underway. Began last night, or began yesterday, or even days earlier. Who knows? Gosh, we're going to be pondering that for a while, aren't we? Plus, the My Success events made its return to St. Joseph this week, hosting hundreds of high school seniors inside the Civic Arena. The annual event acts as a large career fair. We'll get you more information on that local news and, of course, the national news. It's Thursday, February 24th, 2022. This is Morning Edition. I'm Ryan Hennessy.
And I'm Hannah Page.
Morning, Hannah.
Morning.
Cold out there this morning. It's the time of morning you grip the steering wheel and shake it.
Once again, today, yes, we can't seem to shake it. So we are dealing with a little bit of snowfall, that lingering cold air, growing snow chances throughout the day. But there's also a lot more going on outside of our region today.
Yeah, exactly. And even some kind of breaking news happening right outdoors. If you are driving downtown on Edmond specifically and smell diesel fuel today, we know the cause. Right outside of our newsroom, a tank on the side of a semi-truck was spilling diesel inside the post office's parking lot. Here's some of the sights from about 4 a.m. this morning. Fire department and hazmat unit quick to respond. We did some calculations this morning. With current diesel prices, we're thinking could have been $406 worth of diesel fuel spilled out there. They're obviously trying to contain this. Edmond Street closed between 8th and 9th Street still. We will stay on this because all we have to do is look at our windows to get you updates. So, oh, hey, breaking news. Street is open now. Okay, but you still might smell that diesel. Probably so for a little while this morning. Okay, moving on to some other breaking news this morning. President Joe Biden has issued a statement this morning on the Russian invasion of Ukraine. He began that statement with offering his prayers for the people of Ukraine, some of whom are fleeing the country in droves. We'll show you that later. Biden began by calling the attack on Ukraine unprovoked, unjustified. And he said Russian President Vladimir Putin has, quote, chosen premeditated war that will bring a catastrophic loss of life and human suffering. Biden plans to meet with allies, including NATO, to, quote, ensure a strong, united response that deters aggression against the alliance, end quote. Battles are unfolding across Ukraine today, with fighting ongoing in both the Kharkiv and Kherson regions. Russian troops launched a wide-ranging attack on Ukraine. Big explosions were seen and heard before dawn in Kyiv, Dnipro, Kharkiv, and Odessa as the world leaders decreed actions from Russia that could cause massive casualties and topple Ukraine's democratically elected government. Ukrainian President Zelensky said that more than 40 soldiers have been killed and a few dozen are injured. He also declared martial law, saying Russia had targeted the country's military infrastructure and urged Ukrainians to stay home and not panic. Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, has warned other countries that any attempt to interfere would lead to consequences you have never seen, end quote. At least 50 Russian troops have also been killed near a town in Luhansk region, while a total of at least 4 Russian tanks were destroyed near the eastern city of Kharkiv. And Russian President Vladimir Putin authorized a military operation, obviously, last night in Ukraine, further intensifying an invasion of the country. Ukraine's president says the government will provide arms to citizens in need and asked for NATO allies to assist them. NBC's Bree Jackson has the latest for us from Washington.
Ukraine under fire this morning. Sirens wailing and explosions heard in major cities, including the capital, Kyiv. Long lines of cars with people trying to flee to safety. President Biden condemning Russia, saying Putin has chosen a premeditated war that will bring a catastrophic loss of life and human suffering. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced the attack on state TV in Russia, claiming it's intended to protect civilians. During an emergency meeting, members of the United Nations Security Council pleaded for peace.
At the exact time as we are gathered in the council seeking peace, Putin delivered a message of war.
They made a decision for a special military operation in the Donbass.
So I call on every one of you to do everything possible to stop the war.
Шановні громадяни України.
Ukraine's president declaring martial law, allowing curfews and the seizure of property, saying the future of Europe's security is being tested. The U.S. vowing support.
We're doubling down on our assistance to Ukraine itself, making sure, as we've already done, that we're providing additional security assistance, diplomatic support, economic, humanitarian support.
And reassuring NATO allies.
The world will hold Russia accountable.
The White House says today it will announce significant new actions to punish Russia. A bipartisan effort is underway to respond to Russia's attacks on Ukraine. Later today, members of Congress will be briefed on the situation. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson for NBC News.
Thank you, Bree. Now, Ukrainian residents are fleeing as Russia, of course, launches a wide-ranging attacks there. Long lines of cars causing massive traffic jams leading out of Kyiv. This is just something that gives you an idea of what the mentality is for the residents there in Ukraine. Must be pretty terrifying. Explosions obviously heard in the country's capital as well as many other cities there in Ukraine, causing damage to the infrastructure. Again, Ukrainian leadership has said at least 40 people have been killed. We believe that to be just soldiers right now. And as the Russian invasion of Ukraine is underway, American forces being shipped out to help others nearby. Just a note we should start with on this one, President Biden has said he's not sending troops to Ukraine. No U.S. troops are going to be sent to Ukraine is what he said so far. Now, about 40 service members are being relocated from Italy to Latvia today to help nearby NATO allies. This is the first group of an expected deployment of more than 300 troops to the Baltic nation. President Biden will be sending a total of 800 troops to the Baltic states, as well as a number of fighter jets along the eastern side of the NATO bloc.
Well, good morning. Thanks for joining us. As you are waking up this morning, we're dealing with lots of cloud cover, lots of continued cold air. So we're actually starting off 18 degrees warmer than yesterday. Your feels like right now at 0. So north of 36, we're still feeling those temperatures below 0, and everyone is also just about the same. So yes, roads have been clear looking down on Edmond this morning. Such a high traffic area, so that's really nice to see as you're getting going. Probably a lot of you coming downtown later on. So pretty busy outside today with a lot of people. We are nearing the weekend. Also commute wise, you may have run into just a little bit of trouble closer to Kansas City, but south of I-70. That's where that snowfall is pushing through just a little bit quicker today. Moving more so into our area, I'd say after about 9 to 10 o'clock. 21 will be your high. Scattered snow chances in the area for the majority of our afternoon and evening. We're going to break it down in more detail on Futurecast up next in just a few minutes. We're also going to talk about totals and then what you can expect closer to the weekend.
You know, I don't know what it is, Hannah, but you brighten things up. We're talking about all this doom and gloom on the news. You have to follow it, and then you're so cheery. And then you also have to tell us it's cold out there. It's like freezing.
I know. People are like, oh, she's back. And they're like, get her off.
No, I don't know how you do it. I still think it's positive when you're talking to us. So thank you. All right, let's get you back to the news, though, folks. Some more local news. The My Success event returned to St. Joseph for its annual career exploration, showing this week, giving seniors across the state an inside look into the workforce. Reporter Steph Manchin has our story from yesterday.
Today, inside Civic Arena, hundreds of high school seniors from across Northwest Missouri are learning about career opportunities available to them after graduation.
The St. Joseph Chamber of Commerce hosted the My Success event to encourage career exploration among high schoolers, connecting them to different businesses across the community. Christy Arthur, the Director of Workforce Development, said the hope is to get students excited about a successful future in St. Joseph.
Right now, the job market is hot as it's ever been. So these seniors have a unique opportunity to get into the market right away if they have not had chosen a career path. If they have chosen a career path, if they decided to go off to college, And this gives them an opportunity to find out who they can come home and work for, because we want our students to live, work, and play here.
Olivia Thornton, a senior at Savannah High School, was one of approximately 2,000 students in attendance. Thornton said after the pandemic left her completing her junior year online, she was motivated to take advantage of in-person opportunities like the My Success event as to not miss out on any more time.
I think there's a lot of high school students that don't really have much of any idea of what they want to do, and that's totally okay. But there's also some people that are pretty set on one thing, but this just opens your mind to anything.
With about 90 businesses participating in the 2-day-long event, Toby Yeager, a human resource manager for Boehringer Ingelheim Animal Health, believes it's important to host forums like these so young adults can be educated on the careers around them.
I'm glad St. Joe does this event. There are a lot of good employers here. The Chamber does a really good job of exposing the jobs that are here so that these kids know that, again, you don't have to leave the community to find gainful employment.
This has been Steph Manchin for News Press Now.
Thank you, Steph. All right. Oil prices are on the rise after Russia announcing it was launching that military attack in Ukraine. Overnight, let's just give you the numbers. U.S. crude futures jumped by 5.24% to trade at $96.92 per barrel. Brent crude futures up by 5.4% at $102.07 per barrel. That's the first time since 2014 that it's actually crossed the $100 threshold. Natural gas also surged at 5.39%. The rise in oil is just another hit for consumers as inflation continues. Consumers can also expect snarls in the supply chain with wheat and grain prices going up, meaning you might be paying even more for essentials at the grocery store. Get this, Russia and Ukraine together produce more than 25% of the world's wheat exports and nearly 20% of the corn exports. I had no idea. The Pentagon has approved the deployment of hundreds of National Guard troops in Washington to help deal with the potential anti-vaccine protest by truckers like those in Canada in recent weeks. You may remember those. Garrett Hake has our report.
A convoy led by at least a dozen truckers setting off from Southern California on a 2,500-mile mission to protest COVID-related mandates in Washington, D.C.
We the people want our country back. We do not want to be under a dictatorship.
The so-called People's Convoy is one of several loosely organized groups expected to converge on the D.C. region over the next week and a half, inspired by recent demonstrations that shut down Canada's capital city and border crossings, cheered on by some congressional Republicans.
I would absolutely welcome a similar pronouncement of protest in our nation's capital by truckers and anyone who wants their freedoms back.
Local and state police agencies say they're prepared to deal with protests that could create massive traffic backups on the Capitol Beltway or attempts to blockade downtown D.C. The Pentagon on Tuesday authorizing up to 700 unarmed National Guardsmen and 50 vehicles to help with traffic control. And Capitol Police considering reinstalling a perimeter fence around the Capitol at least through next Tuesday's State of the Union.
Are you confident in the security of the Capitol ahead of the State of the Union this year?
Well, again, this is in the realm of the police. They have a good handle on what the expectation is. Some of it won't even come until after the State of the Union, but no, I feel confident.
Garrett, all right, so when we come back, we're getting you that full forecast with Hannah Page. Stick around, more edition will continue after a short little break.